Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR to sign up for a new account when you get amazing odds boosts every single day. Avs pull it out. They get back into the win column in, let's call it unorthodox fashion in the way they get there. But they do beat the Blues 3-2 in overtime in the end in a game that, well, I won't spoil it. I'll let Jesse do the rundown since he so kindly signed up for it today.
Yeah, I will. Going right away. I didn't get an "Are you ready?" like everyone else seems to get. Really, this was a slow-moving game. I think intentionally by the Avs. All jokes aside, through the first 50 minutes of play, Mikko Rantanen grabs that 2-on-1 in the second period with Jean-Luc Foudy. Good on him to jump up into the play. Nice shot by Rantanen, held onto it, and really that was all of the high danger stuff that had happened. Through 50 minutes, Cale Makar takes a double minor for high sticking. Kind of an unfortunate, just caught Jordan Kyrou in the right/wrong spot. Double minor. Tarasenko scores a beautiful goal right off the draw. Avs get a power play late, but give the shorthanded goal on a terrible sequence with a horrible turnover right in the neutral zone. Avs score right before the game ends. Mikko Rantanen gets his second of the game. Then 29 seconds into overtime, Mikko Rantanen on the doorstep completes a hat trick for the win.
What a pass by Cale Makar.
Yeah, what a pass. Shot pass.
It was definitely a pass all the way. I mean, it was really a shot pass, honestly. But
shooting for a rebound. Way to go to the net.
Jesse, you and I were talking right before we went on live. It was almost a devastating loss, but in the end turns out to be like a more hype win than you ever could have gotten any other way. So
we got within 4 minutes of the game ending, and the four of us were all saying, okay, you have to get a point. And Rudo asked the question, is 1 point good enough? And we all kind of agreed, given the circumstance, given what's happened the last week, if you get to overtime and all you end up with is 1 point, it has to be good enough. But given where the game was, we all agreed you have to get at least one. You get that power play late, and you're sitting there saying, okay, maybe they can win this in regulation and keep from giving the Blues any kind of point in the standings, anything like that. You have this horrible breakdown of a breakout that all culminates in JT Compher losing an edge and, kind of springing Brandon Saad on this little mini half breakaway. And you're like, oh my gosh, is that really how you're going to lose this on the road with a shorthanded goal on just this terrible breakdown of a play? And so it goes from what could be soul-crushing to, I can't even imagine how upset Jared Bednar would be that they lose it on that kind of a breakdown. Two, they call a timeout. The leaders on that bench rally together. And what we've seen, the leaders on this team, Nathan McKinnon, Gabe Landeskog at time, Cale Makar, what we've seen those guys do is say, cool, I'm taking over. We're not losing this game. And Mikko Rantanen comes out of that huddle and says, yeah, over my dead Finnish body will we lose this game, and finds a way to put 2 pucks in the back of the net by going to the net, taking some abuse to get there, and finding pucks in traffic. And it goes from being this terrible story to this is why this team won the Stanley Cup 6 months ago. It's because they've got people like that on this team in that locker room. Everyone has bought into that philosophy that, cool, we're selling out now. You're going to the net. This is it. Like, we've lost 4 games in a row. This is 5. You have 90 seconds to go fix that. And they did. Like, this is why this team has had the success that they've had in the last 18 months. It was all summed up there in the last 90 seconds and then first 30 seconds of overtime.
So, fun fact. The dead body of a moose would actually be quite hard to move because they weigh a lot.
Yes, they do.
They're huge. They're so much bigger than you even knowing the joke of how big they are.
Right.
They're so much bigger than you think.
They are thick animals, to say the least. Megan and Blaze, we will get into the nitty-gritty of the negatives and positives in a little bit, but on the whole, all positive tonight, or is there something more you wanted to see?
When you addressed both of us, I thought this was going to be the answer for Charles Houdon in some way.
What do you guys have to say?
Yeah.
About him
About
specifically.
him. Yeah.
Over to the homie couch real quick.
Honestly,
Yeah, make sure to get that banner above their heads for the video pod.
right. And you know what? I'm ready to answer for him. It was pretty low event hockey all around.
It was.
So I look, and the physicality was there for him tonight. Didn't produce as many shot attempts as we're used to seeing Hudon specifically, but the physicality made up for it, and I'm not unsatisfied with this outing from Charles Hudon individually.
Cool. How about the rest of the team?
End of the show. No, it's hard because a lot of this game was uneventful, and there were some flashes of things that we like to see with Hudon, Foodie. There were some people that were less visible to me personally, but I maybe don't want to get into that too yet.
Sure. So, on the whole, though, does it matter how this bread got made, or does it just matter that the Avs got 2 points?
I mean, I think it matters a little bit how the bread got made. There is a little concern there, right? Like, if you look at what's going on right now, it's Mikko Rantanen doing a lot of work and no one else. What's positive, though, is the team defense looks a lot better. Obviously, they let 2 goals in. One was a fluke goal that, JT Compher loses an edge. Like you were talking about. You do that, run it back 100 times, it happens once.
Right.
It's genuinely tough to blame the defense for either goal the Avs gave up,
Yeah.
I think.
So-
and we'll get to that.
Yeah, so I didn't want to.
No, that's fine. Go. I'm a man of few words.
I was going to say, for me, the Mikko Rantanen being the one to get all 3 goals, like, that doesn't bother me in the slightest. I really am. I'm just stepping back and looking at, you really don't have anybody in this lineup that I would say I'm expecting a lot of production out of, outside of Mikko Rantanen, and then I'll now put Val Nichushkin back into that with the caveat of he's coming back after missing 17 games. It's clear he's still shaking out the rust, but
Yeah.
I think it's fair to have some level of production expectations on him. Past that, Arturi Lehkonen was not brought to the Avs to be like a high-level producer. He has produced like a top 6 forward since he's gotten here, but I'm not expecting like super high-level production out of him on a nightly basis. Then the rest of this lineup, for me, you're looking to be competitive on every shift, generate chances every now and then, but for the most part, they made it a game. But for the most part, you are looking for those lines to generate some energy and keep the other team off the score sheet. And to me, I watched tonight's game, and I think all of those expectations for me were met. I thought the Hudon Foodie line had some good moments, especially early in the game, coming back on the back check with speed, using their speed to transition the game up ice. Again, it's Foodie who's up on that 2-on-1 with Mikko Rantanen. And you got what you needed out of your checking lines. We'll talk about Logan O'Connor here in a minute. But you got what you needed. I thought that was a really solid game. We talked last week. You're going to have to win these games. Without Nathan MacKinnon, plus all the other injuries, you're going to have to win these games 2-1, 3-2, 3-1, these low-scoring games. And that was what the Avs found a way to pull out. I think, especially because you got the result you did, it would have been nice to win it late in regulation without having to go through all that. But I think this is almost as good as you could ask for out of what you have to put forward against a Blues team that plays well against you on the road.
So I want to extrapolate on, you kind of touched on it with Foodie being in on that 2-on-1 with Mikko. What alleviates my problem here a little bit is you look at these score lines. Mikko's first goal assisted by Newhook and Hunt. Mikko's second goal assisted by Compher and Taves. Mikko's third goal assisted by Makar and Nichushkin. So it's not like those other guys you need to producing aren't there not producing at all. They're getting involved in these critical plays. With that being said, it's been more than 2 full games since the last goal scored by someone not named Mikko Rantanen for the Colorado Avalanche.
Right.
How much of that is, okay, this is a problem, and how much of that is, can we please just get healthy players back?
I'm sorry. I know I'm talking a lot right now, but to me, it's not nothing. You can't look at anything right now as a long-term problem given this group. Like I said, I think you need at least 2 more guys out of your top 6 back before you can start pointing at things saying, all right, this is something that you need to address. Right now, you're really, Megan, you and I have talked about it. You're trying to kind of like remold a new team into your bottom 6.
I think I am inclined to agree, too, because we talked about how just having Nichushkin back alleviated a lot of tension because guys are able to move back down in the lineup to a more appropriate role that they were built to play. And I think we see this bottom 6 is beginning to resemble what it's going to look like later in the season. And once some consistency is injected back into the lineup, it'll get easier. It's interesting, though, something like, well, I don't think Charles Hudon is a long-term plan.
Probably not.
But seeing Hudon, Foudy, and Myers have some chemistry in tonight's game, it does bode well for the future because that probably is going to be a line where I'm sure one of those sticks, probably Ben Myers, is just my guess. And the talent around him elevates as healthy guys return to the lineup. And I like to see what this teases. I like to see Foudy going to the net front and Myers trying to clean up the rebound right before him 6 minutes into the first period. That was one of my favorite periods. I love to see the confidence in those young players. It's kind of who they represent. I know Charles Hudon is in a different category from them in that regard, but that's sort of what this type of game reveals to me, at least, and why I'm not necessarily concerned, but I'm not elated over the game either.
I think you bring up a good point. Systemically, I think the Avs did a pretty good job. You know, in the third period, you even saw EJ crash in the net down there in the dangerous
Yes.
areas. So again, I don't really mind the process. It's just puck's got to start going in eventually, right?
Well, I mean, when you're one-dimensional and you're scoring through one player, what are teams going to start to do? They're going to say, okay, let's take
Anybody
away
else
Mikko
beat us.
Rantanen
Yep.
and score on us.
Yep.
And that's my concern. Like, I no concern today. Like, for great. But, like, people are going to catch on if you're one-dimensional. It's just that's how they're going to game plan the Avalanche.
And this is where I just we've seen too much maturity out of this team. And, oh, by the way, they still have several other, like, high-end players that are maybe not in the lineup right now, but cool. You're going to key on if you're going to take away, you're going to eliminate Mikko Rantanen on the power play. Cale Makar is just going to hammer pucks from out high. You know, you have Val Nichushkin back down low. Like, they're going to start getting enough pieces that I'm just not worried about that. You need Mikko Rantanen. He's your de facto. He is your best player offensively right now. He is your go-to guy. You need your go-to guys to get you through some rough patches. The Avs they're plugging a lot of holes. If this goes 2 more games, I'm with you. It's like, okay, something's got to give here somewhere. But you know, I thought the team played well against New York, and I thought the team had a good game here today. Not perfect, a few mistakes here and there. They had a good game. They held on long enough that your stars need to come through. You only got one up front right now, and he came up big. And then I love your point, Rudo, of you had 6 different contributors
On the back end of those.
on each, combined across the 3 goals. And the biggest one, the winner, is from Cale Makar and Val Nichushkin.
Yep.
You got the contributions from the big name players that you needed. And Mikko Rantanen, the guy that everyone gets frustrated with because he can go quiet when he has the ability to be an elite player, showed up as an elite player.
He did. We'll talk about Mikko a little bit more a little bit later for obvious reasons. But for now, we are brought to you by Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. You can find it at your local liquor store. Use the Breck Beer Locator online at breckbrew.com. Be sure to check out their nice list, too. They're doing a bunch of giveaways for the Christmas season. So go check out on that. Go win some beer or some dope merch or a bunch of other stuff with Breck Brew. One of our favorites, going to be drinking a lot of that when we take the party bus down to Ball Arena for my birthday. Less than a week away now. December 17th, this Saturday. It's happening. So if you want to come have a party time at the Avs game with the DNVR crew, it's the place to be. We're also partying afterward at the bar because, it's what you do. But hopefully you guys can come have fun with us. There are a few tickets left to the game. If you want to purchase those as part of the Party Bus deal, go to dnvrlocker.com, and we have some seats left for those of you that already have tickets but just want to ride the bus to and from the game with us. And, of course, brought to you by Game Time. If you're not getting your tickets through the Party Bus, you can get them through Game Time to the Avs and any other sporting event in the country. You can get up to 60% off price with Game Time. So great deals. Join over 15 million people that use it with the link down in the description of the video. They also have a bunch of great features. They can show you what the seat looks like, show you how things are all set up around the arena. So go check out Game Time, download their app, do all the good stuff. Make sure let them know we sent you with the link in the description. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. First two periods, low event. Are we viewing that as strictly positive? Jesse, I know you were saying that's kind of the way they have to play right now. All good, or would you like to see the Avs be a little bit more aggressive?
I really liked the first period, too, of those two periods, just in terms of possession and opportunities generated. So I didn't have a criticism of that. Obviously, in the second, because it is such a low-scoring game, that's where you start to have more concerns about how low event it was. And the St. Louis, I don't want to... It felt a lot more evenly killed, evenly matched in that frame. And so that's where I would have liked to see the Avs apply just a little more pressure, so they didn't find themselves in the precarious situation that they ended up in the third.
Yeah, you got to love the first period, right? Like, there's a 5-on-3 situation against the Avs.
Yep.
They kill that. That's huge, especially it was right around the, well, I know this, but right around the, 9-minute mark, 8-minute mark that this happened. One of my bets might have,
Just barely.
It was a little squeaky there, but, you got to feel good about that. And then, low event hockey when you're injured, great. Take that every day. Mm-hmm. On the defensive side, that means that they're keeping people to the outside. They're not getting good looks, good shots on net, and that's what you need right now, especially when you're having trouble on the other end of the ice.
Yeah. And this kind of brings us to the point that I want to make, where both of the goals the Avs give up are freak things. Certainly the first one, the mistake there is Cale Makar's penalty, which is a bit of a weird one. At the end of the day, yes, you do need to be in control of your stick. It's on Cale. He needs to do a better job there. But it's not a penalty where you go, wow, he just did something dumb.
Well, and it's even more unfortunate because it really did. It looked like it just barely caught the tip of Jordan Kyrie's nose. And it really does. It looks like it sliced him with his blade coming across the bottom. So it was just it really kind of embodied how the power play went for the Avs too. It was like, wow. I was like three things in succession that you can't have happen that exact way. Yeah. A couple of those things you can have happen, but if they happen all like that, it's really bad. And that was just kind of an unfortunate one that I guess it being a double didn't really end up mattering.
They did a good job to kill the second one. Credit there. I genuinely have no problems. Like, the Avs defended well. You put Tarasenko at an impossible angle, and he just puts an incredible shot on that.
Sometimes these really good hockey players do really cool things.
Not much more than that to say about the first goal. It is what it is. You tip your cap. You try to move on from it. And really, the Avs did. At 5-on-5, they continued to play fine after letting that goal in. You just have the disaster on the power play. And this one, I think everyone is at fault for.
I blame the refs.
That one linesman can also get a small share of everyone else in succession. Because he did get in the way twice.
And I do want to talk about the entire play. Because, yes, Compher blows a tire. Brandon Saad gets in because
Before
of it.
that.
But there's a whole lot more led up to this. Jesse, you were talking about it on the watch-along. St. Louis taking away the drop pass on their penalty kill.
So what was especially frustrating about that play to me is the Avs were one of the early adopters of the drop pass because they had the personnel to do it.
Yep.
It started with Tyson Barrie and Nathan MacKinnon. And they really didn't even run it that full time on their second unit because they understood we have two players with unique skill sets. One of them can bring speed that really drives guys back. When he has a puck on a stick, And then you had Tyson Barrie, who was skilled enough and quick enough that also caused opposing teams to have to respect him in the neutral zone and cause them to back off. So it was this weird kind of combination that a bunch of teams have adopted as the league's gotten faster, et cetera, et cetera. Well, it's even more so that now with Cale Makar. So the entire point of that drop pass is the theory behind it is the lead player with the puck is supposed to be a threat to take the puck to the neutral zone. And we've seen Cale Makar do it several times.
Yep.
There's the goal from last year against Philadelphia where he takes the fact that Philly is trying to cut off that drop pass and says, cool, you're going to hang two guys back spaced out. I will take all of this open ice. So that play starts coming up the ice, and St. Louis was obviously selling out to take away the drop pass. So, one, I don't know why Cale didn't just skate that, but he made the second outlet pass there. The Avs, that drop play is meant that if you don't have the drop pass, there's help on the wall, and the pass to the wall is supposed to suck everyone in there, and then that player can hit the trailing guy coming through the neutral zone with speed. So Cale opts for the second option there where he hits Artturi Lehkonen on the wall. Artturi Lehkonen then just kind of froze up.
Yeah.
And really he didn't have the drop pass either. St. Louis's forechecker did a good job of taking that away. You're on the offensive side of the red line. If you really had nothing, get that puck in deep. Now, Artturi Lehkonen tried to kind of walk it up the wall to free up a lane somewhere else and ended up kind of getting into a half collision with the ref after whoever that was coming back from St. Louis got a stick on it. So, the linesman there didn't help, but that really wasn't the crux of the issue. And then Makar comes in and tries to throw the puck now to the trailer because things have broken totally down. But he's at a weird angle. The puck's in tight on him, and I think he also hit the linesman. So it ends up just kind of be this muffin of a pass. Then JT Compher blows a tire, and he's not able to recover in time. Brandon Saad's able to get inside position, but to me, that whole breakdown came where it just seemed like, for whatever reason, both Cale Makar and Artturi Lehkonen delayed a second to 2 seconds each in their decision making there when the first option for that play, which is the drop pass, didn't present itself, and that really led to this just horrible sequence of events. Again, the whole purpose of having Cale Makar being the one that leads that puck in the neutral zone is skate.
Yeah.
And then Artturi Lehkonen, you're positioned where you are so that if you have no outlet, you are legally allowed to get that puck in deep. You're not going to ice it. And neither of them kind of took their last option there to get the puck as far away from their net as possible. And that's what happens. It ends up in the back of your net on weird, fluky stuff like that.
Multiple bad decisions, multiple terrible execution.
Right.
One pretty unlucky event.
Right.
It's a lot of things going wrong there.
And I've been a firm believer. I had a coach tell me at a young age, because we were all mad this one game. Like it was a team that we should have beat, and we lost, and we were like, oh, well, they got all the bounces. We were just so unlucky. And we had a coach tell us, look, you make your own luck. They outworked you.
Yep.
Like, you earn your bounces, and when you make that many mental errors one right after another, you're not moving your feet. Again, Artturi Lehkonen, he's coming back after a few games off. If you're going to drive that puck up the wall to the blue line, you got to get your legs churning. You got to drive that puck into the zone. And he kind of half decided, I don't really know what I'm doing, so he skipped up the boards a little bit, never actually got it into the zone. You gotta be sure when you're going to make decisions like that in the neutral zone.
I want to bring it back to JT Compher. Am I being too harsh for thinking he should have been able to do more defensively on that play? I get it. He blows a tire. All I'm saying is Nathan McKinnon, I've never seen him blow a tire back there, but I'm willing to give that up to it's a freak thing that happens sometimes. Really would have liked to see Compher find a way to get himself back in that play. If it's me, am I being too harsh, or do you guys want to see better there?
Are you talking like full sellout? Like,
yeah.
Should he have taken like the trip and gone, okay?
I mean, try something. Don't just get beat clean.
I mean, I think he was
I
trying
think he
to.
was,
That's
yeah,
hard
he was
to
trying
like
to get
recover.
his stick around, but Saad had the inside, and I saw him reaching his stick around, but he was trying not to get another penalty drawn.
Yeah.
And I was just about to talk. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
No, go
Wow,
ahead. Go
so
ahead.
rude, Blaze.
I'm
Unbelievable.
I was just correcting myself.
I'm gonna excuse myself from this pod.
Damn, Nick, I thought you were going to say I was just correcting you. I thought you were going to say, no, I was just correcting what you were saying.
No, I was just talking.
Oh.
I was about to say, like, look at what the Avs do. Like, Brandon Saad he's been real quiet this year. And then that happened, and he got the goal. What happens, right?
Of course it's Saad.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
So no real problems with Compher then, other than unlucky blow skate.
I mean, yeah, it is unlucky. Like, that happens. Like, your skate goes out from underneath you. You're on ice.
Mm-hmm.
Even the best players in the world, that has happened to them. Just the worst possible moment that it could happen.
Yeah. Well, and I guess you could say, to answer your question, like, could he have, tried to, like, take a little bit of an outside and dive to try to scoop a puck away? Sure, but I guess at that point the question becomes, are you okay with him taking the penalty in that moment if it goes that way and taking it to 4-on-4 and hope that they don't award a penalty shot there? I don't know if they would have because they were kind of, like, tied up. But, like, so I guess that's the question is, would you rather see him, and maybe your answer is yes, it's not the most egregious penalty you could take, but, like, would you rather see him in that situation, sell out, take the penalty, and go down to 4-on-4 and try to just get to overtime? The hilarious part is you end up with the same results either way.
I feel a lot more comfortable having these conversations and assessing blame a little bit more harshly because it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, it's just hard to say that too, right? Because if he would have done that and taken the penalty, you didn't know that the goal was going to be scored right there.
Right. Maybe they score on the power play with 10 seconds left, and you're like, oh, what a bad penalty to take.
Yeah, right. It's impossible to know the future like that for sure.
Right. But that is, and that's where, again, because it works out and they win the game, and JT Compher's involved on the game-time goal, that's what you said.
It definitely absolves.
Right, you're like, wow, what a great play to not take the penalty.
Yeah.
How smart. They had faith that they'd be able to get it back.
Faith in the goaltender.
Yeah. Yeah, when you win, you get to say all kinds of, like...
Which leads into that play. The Avs go down 2-1, aren't able to convert on the remaining power play itself after giving up the shorty, but keep the pressure up and then get rewarded. I'm not going to say it was pretty. I'm not going to say it was even a particularly good play, but they get the puck to the front of the net. They have two bodies in there, and as we've heard a lot right now, just outworked St. Louis to get that goal back.
I mean, good things happen. Like, you're always talking about getting the puck into the home plate, and especially where the point of the home plate comes. Good things happen. I mean, it wasn't good, right? Like, the puck hit JT Compher in the chest, hand region area, bounced down, and just a lucky little melee behind Binnington there to have them score.
Yeah, and it's everything. Oh, I'm so sorry, man.
No, it's okay. I don't have much to say.
Go.
I was just going to say, I think, too, this is why Compher not taking a penalty to defend against Saad is important, because they're able to control possession in the zone the way that they do for this tying goal because of the expiration of the power play and just being able to apply more pressure in the offensive zone. That was it.
Yeah, you're not down to 4-on-4. And
I don't know it's a guarantee that they can sustain zone pressure then if it's 4-on-4 they're defending against.
Yeah. Well, and it's everything that you were saying there, Blaze, about, you get some funny bounces, but going back to you earn your bounces, they got the puck to the home plate area, and then JT Compher and Mikko Rantanen were in behind every St. Louis Blues player in terms of getting to the front net. They actually boxed the Blues out of their own crease.
Well, and part of that hard work and a good fortunate bounce because of it, a Blues helmet pops off with 15 seconds left.
Yeah.
It kind of becomes a pseudo 6-on-4 at that point.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Avs are able to take advantage of that. Now, did this puck hit JT Compher's glove? Is that a hand pass if it did?
So from I don't remember what angle it is, it looks to me, and it looked to me pretty definitively, that it went off of his chest or upper arm.
And then hit him again.
And then came down and went off the cuff roll on his glove. Now, I don't know how any reasonable official can look at that and declare that a hand pass. Now, I will also say, I think it hitting off of his cuff roll caused it to change direction and go in the direction that the Avs eventually needed it to. But I like.
Did it ever
things
hit
are,
his hand, though? The
No.
glove region of the hand, not
No,
the wrist.
it actually did look like it hit the cuff. That's sitting a little bit off of his his forearm. So I think it was it hit his glove, but I
Sure.
don't think that actually hit any part of his his fingies.
Bingies.
If the puck had gone directly in the net, I think it's a good goal for sure.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have been like an intentional
Right.
anything. But we've seen some hand passy style stuff get called back before.
See, and that was another one that I would have been annoyed had they taken that back for a hand pass. I would have been annoyed at the application of the rule to that, because if you want to say it went off his glove, therefore it's inherently a hand pass, that is not what the hand pass rule is in place for. It is not there. That's not within the spirit of the rule.
The rule was created because San Jose was blatantly cheating.
Right. Because someone intentionally advanced the puck to a teammate with the palm of their hand, and that's why that rule was put in place. It was not put in place to take goals away that inadvertently went off of part of your equipment. So I thought everyone got it right there, and I also think that's why St. Louis doesn't challenge that.
Yep.
In the dying seconds.
Well, that's a hard challenge to win after they're reviewing it to make sure that it's a good goal. I understand where you could try, the
little
amount of hope there.
I guess because you're challenging for a hand pass is a little bit different, but we have seen in the past a goal be reviewed by Toronto, deemed a goal, and then immediately challenged by the coach
deemed not a goal.
for something else, and then waved off. But you are correct that it'd be hard.
But that's usually like an offside, something that's
or a
away
goalie
from
interference or something.
the immediate play.
I'll say, because I imagine that part of what Toronto was checking for there was any part of this.
Yeah.
I don't
For
know.
the most part, all Toronto can do is check if the puck legally entered the net.
In a review situation
And
like that,
it's fast and loose and exactly what that covers. But generally, it does not cover the things that you can challenge.
Yeah.
Other part of that, I forget, Megan, are you a believer in the clutch gene or no?
Yeah, but I think it requires more explanation than me just saying yes right now.
Go off then.
No, I don't. This is not the right time for that tangent. I think we have different understandings, because I've tuned into those pods before on what clutch means, and there are philosophical differences, I think, in the interpretation of clutch. But I do think there is something to be said for timely goal scoring.
To me, it takes, even at the pro hockey level, it takes a certain type of person to want to be in those situations late in games with as much pressure as there is, knowing, JT Compher, I'm assuming, is where you're going with this.
Him and Mikko both. Yeah.
Because JT Compher, for as much shit as he takes from Avs fans, I think there is a very obvious reason why the Avs have made him the last man standing from that original frat line. And he's the one that of those three, when that line was first put together, would probably have been everyone's first guess at, he's probably gone first. And the reason he's persevered is because he has that desire where he just it's the ice in their veins thing. JT Compher just is not afraid of the moment. He's not afraid to go stand in front of the net where he knows in the Stanley Cup playoffs, in an NHL regular season game in St. Louis where there's a bit of a rivalry, he knows he's going to go to the front of the net and get the shit beat out of him because the team's going to sell out to try to win a game, and it just doesn't bother him, and he wants the puck on his stick, and not everyone is like that. And to me, that is where it's why you end up with players that are... What are you doing over there?
What?
What's happening over here?
What are you talking about?
I'm watching you send text messages and grinning over here.
No. We won. The
Yeah.
Avs won.
Yeah.
Jesse's actually setting up a perfect segue here.
I was going to say...
No, but you can...
But that to me is what... I don't know if you want to call it a clutch gene or whatever, but that to me is what it is. It's the guys who are out there in the situation of hockey. They want to be out there late. They want those moments of pressure. And in those moments of pressure, they want the puck on their stick. Because I'm telling you, there are, even in the NHL, there are guys on that bench who, I don't want to use the word afraid, but they're sitting there like, I don't want to be the one that goes out there and makes the mistake that gives up the empty net goal. I don't want to whatever. And then you have guys that are like, yeah, I'm not afraid to make that mistake because I think that I'm going to go out there and bury this.
That at the NHL level, there's that? Because most of those guys have been I'm the man.
Right.
Growing up throughout, every league that they played in, they're the guy.
Go ahead.
So this is the conversation I want to have about Mikko.
Yeah.
Because look at the first goal Mikko scores. It's a 2-on-1. It's from outside. Unbelievable shot. He's got all the talent in the world. But you compare that goal to the goals he ends up scoring later in this game. This is not casual, floaty, I'm going to be a all-skill, no physicality player. The Mikko who's just a beast and is going to stand in the crease and no one can knock him over shows up. And look, I get it. With the room that the Avs have, certainly vocally, Mikko isn't really a leader in that room as much as guys like Landy or EJ or even Cogliano. But him being the star that's healthy on the team right now, he needs to do that and lead by example.
Yeah.
How important was it for Mikko, not even to score the hat trick and help the Avs win the games, but show the effort level required here?
I think it's important. I think that's why the clutch conversation is as controversial as it is, because you look at someone like Mikko who has the skill upside that the likelihood of them being the goal scorer should be high. That it should be someone like that, scoring in big moments, but even just any moments throughout the game. And that's kind of true of Mikko tonight. But not everybody can rise to that occasion. Not everybody can execute, and it does come down to effort. And in the past, that has been a conversation about Mikko, is consistency. And I think especially this season, we have seen him show up pretty consistently as needed. And that's pretty difficult to do when the pressure is on, because you either got it or you don't. Like, everyone knows that this is needed of Mikko, but actually being able to fulfill that is a different conversation. And so I do think there is some clutchiness going on there.
Not full clutch, just some clutchiness.
Because he's just talented, too. Like, okay, the likelihood of it being Mikko is very high.
Well, see, and I think and this is, AJ's argument is like, oh, no, those are just your best players. But, like, again, that to me it's stuff like that separates the truly elite players from really good players. And I'm not saying that everybody who's a clutch player is truly elite, but, like, that's why a lot of elite players seem to have that factor to them. And to go back to what you're saying about, yes, I do think that even at the NHL level, there are so many studies out there about the way that hierarchies break down in any given room, let alone an organization or anything like that. And so even when you have a room of 20 guys who have been like alpha males their entire life, well, when you put them in the room, you can't like, it's
only
not
so
possible.
Many alphas are on the Omega grind
right,
set.
Right,
I
right.
I understand.
It's just not possible to have like 20 people that constantly like high strung. And so it does. It breaks down the same way that it does for every team where they have been the alpha male and there has been one and I hate that phrase so much.
Why do you keep saying it then?
Well, because like that is the only like true descriptor for it. Like when you're talking about it in like a large group like that. And so, yes, even though they've been the person that wants to be the clutch guy on every team up until they got to, junior A. Oh, and then, wow, there's a lot of guys who are really good here. And damn, that guy can take the puck. And, it's just that's what starts to separate these players out. And it's the players. It's true across a lot of industries, including our industry and like, the entertainment industry, where it's like the people who have that drive, who aren't afraid, no matter how good the players are, no matter how big they are, no matter how hard you're going to get beat up going to the net, those players. And that's why Mikko Rantanen comes up in this conversation, despite in years past where he's had the effort questions. You sit there and you go, God, he's had a horrible game. And then with 10 seconds left, he's the one that scores to put the Avs ahead or whatever. It's because he's not afraid to be out there. He's had a horrible game. There are players who have, oh my gosh, I've been terrible. Don't even give me the puck, blah. Mikko Rantanen can go 3 straight games being bad, and they go, hey, we need a goal. He's like, cool, give it to me.
Yep.
I want it.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is where the clutch thing comes in. And again, it just so happens to relate to a lot of the best, most elite players because they are the ones who have been able to sift to the top of that hierarchy in a room full of people who have always been at the top of their hierarchy.
So can you also say that like these injuries that are happening right now for the Avalanche, right, that they're kind of going through, there's a positive in it for Mikko Rantanen, which is that belief that he can carry the team on his back, that he can be the shooter, that he doesn't always have to defer, that he is that guy because he doesn't have Nathan MacKinnon on that line with him. Like you've seen him split him up before.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of always deferring to the other players from Mikko, which, you know, there's been a few times where we're screaming at him to shoot it, and he's deferring, giving the pass.
You made us shoot it, guys, at times, Mikko.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's one of those things that this is why you've seen the Avs try him at 2C, right?
Yep.
It's what you've seen now over the last 3-4 games where it's like, it's in there.
Yeah.
And I will also say, we talked about it, this was a couple weeks ago. Mikko Rantanen did a segment in Finland with the Avs social media crew. And he talked about it in there, and Arturi Lehkonen talked about it in there, that Mikko Rantanen had a really late in life, really crazy growth spurt where he grew over a foot from his age like 17 to 18 year. And he said, it took me, it's taken me, he said, several years to get readjusted to my size. Think about that. You're a high-end hockey player advancing through the ranks. You know, how you play, the way that you play with the puck on your stick. It's a wonder. It's not a wonder why. He really, when he first came to pro hockey in North America, everyone was like, why doesn't this kid use his size? He's 6'6", going on 6'7", and he plays like he's, 5'10". Well, come to find out, because 18 months before that, he was 5'10". Like, he's a small dude. And he grew into this, huge guy in a summer, and it's now taken him. He's still a relatively young guy. I think he's like 25, 26.
This is what
Those
he was
go down
texting
there.
about.
Those go down there.
No, they're all. Hey,
You can leave it there. It will go to waste.
Are these actual Jaeger? Or
my entire life, I've never given in to peer pressure once. It's not going to start now. I'm telling you this.
come on, Jesse.
No, it's
Do
just
it.
shots. I'm not 16 anymore. I'm just not interested.
Oh,
Okay.
What does that mean?
It means someone has an extra shot to take, is what that means.
Rudo looks like he needs an
I
extra
gotta
shot.
drive home. It's not happening.
Cheers.
You're the one who ordered these.
Hey, it's winter shot. It's tradition.
Winners.
Yeah, it is a tradition for you guys.
Kind of coffee.
The coffee just lingers for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, we are brought
Is
to
that
you
shot going to seriously sit there?
by
It
Foco,
sure is.
as Blaze does a double. If you want bobbleheads,
No, I got a computer.
bobbleheads of these elite clutch gene athletes, you can get them at Foco. I don't know if you can really tell the clutch gene in their likenesses. That one's more of a on the inside thing.
Broken glass.
Dude,
nah,
this-
you can see it
That
in the
wasn't me,
bobblehead.
by the way.
You can see the clutch.
You
Smashing
can
the
tell.
shot glasses.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, look, you've ever seen Peter Forsberg's eyes? Those things have the clutch gene.
Piercing.
All right. I'm
Piercing.
telling you.
Baby blues.
Either way, get all of your sports apparel merch from Foco.com. Use code DNVR to get free shipping and 10% off your order with them. They have bobbleheads, they got shirts, they got pants, they got Crocs, they got all sorts of crazy stuff. Go check them out. Even if it's not the Avs, they got Broncos stuff. If you really hate yourself and want to buy Broncos merch, they got it. Also brought to you by the American Raptors, who play over at Infinity Park in Glendale. Go check them out, AmericanRaptors.com. Tickets cost no money. You can go see an American Raptors game for free. It's a great day out on the town. Infinity Park is beautiful. If you haven't been, you got to check it out. It's also awesome to get into rugby. If you want to get into it, follow our boy Colton Strickler, the DNVR Rugby account on Twitter. They do amazing work there. And if you're new to the sport, they have 101 pods that will teach you like what a scrum is and what the thing where they put a guy up on their shoulders is called, that I totally know what it's called and don't. It's not that.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Peter Bott tweeted out a really interesting stat when you're done with this. by
Go
the way.
for it.
No, finish your read.
Yeah, AmericanRaptors.com. I already got it in there. We're good.
The Avs have scored with less than 10 seconds in regulation in their previous 3 games in St. Louis. Mikko Rantanen with an empty net goal, 2 seconds left on May 23rd. Darren Helm, 6 seconds left in Game 6, May 27th. Tonight, Mikko Rantanen, 9 seconds remaining in regulation to tie
God,
it
I
up.
remember that home goal. Oh.
Dude.
Also a team the Avs likes to score hat tricks against.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple of hat tricks in the last few visits to St. Louis.
Yep. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Just throwing that out there. Moving on, do want to talk about the overtime a little bit. Hard to execute it any
Before
better.
we get to overtime, can we pause on Logan O'Connor for a second?
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk about him on this? I know you're going to talk about him later too.
Yeah.
Go for it.
No, so this I just want to talk about relative to this game. We are going to hold off on updating the injury counter until
far.
after we talk to Jared Bednar tomorrow. Logan O'Connor, really weird looking injury.
Yeah.
I already sent it out. Put it at 0.
You put it at 0?
No,
Logan O'Connor did leave the game for a few minutes. With an injury that we can't really tell what it was.
Yeah.
It's either like a wrist or a leg.
Yeah,
One of the two.
He
Very close.
he gave a guy a shot in the back, and then he definitely pulled his arm in. And at first, you're like, "Oh, it's an arm injury."
And then he
And
starts
then
limping.
Right, and then the next 3 strides he takes looks hamstring, and you're like, "Oh shit!" But then he takes 2 hard strides. He's still kind of bent over,
Yeah.
takes these weird kind of hops to the bench,
It was really weird.
but then he's back. 5 minutes later.
Never let him know your next
So-
move.
What?
Never let them know your next move.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what hurt. He just wanted to make everything look like it hurt.
Yeah. Holding his head a little bit.
Actually, next level meta right there.
But so we'll see tomorrow.
It's tough. Every little thing. EJ went down in a heap after he took a puck too.
Yeah.
Avs are on edge right now when it comes to the injuries. It's tough.
Yeah.
But
Well,
seems
every
okay.
little thing is being examined through a microscope. You're like,
I-
oh, what's
I
going
have-
on here?
I have to point out, I did post the question in Jared Bednar's response last week, and I may actually have you pull it for our show later, where he specifically calls out or shouts out the training staff and the medical team, how they're the hardest working people in the building right now. They're doing an unbelievable job getting these guys back to health and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought that was so gosh darn funny for all the people out there that blame all of these. Had Logan O'Connor gone to the dressing room with an injury there, it's that's an insane fluke injury. Or had he stayed out with an injury there.
Maybe they need to do more stretches
All right.
before.
Forget a trainer. They need to hire a surgeon to do put biological steel into these
Yeah.
people's bodies.
Yeah,
Oh,
into their-
Wolverine
just-
style.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
I like this. I like where this is headed now.
Yeah. You just gotta figure out the scientists that made they made Logan into Wolverine.
exactly.
And
You need
get
a card. You need a card reader before the games.
Yeah, yeah,
crystal
yeah.
ball.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's going to be good. If
Yeah.
they say anything's going to be bad, that person sits.
Replace your bones with metal, self-healing, and then they're fine. And until the training staff's doing that, I'm blaming them, damn it.
Getting back to the overtime, perfectly executed overtime, pretty much top to bottom. The Avs get the puck early. We talked about it on the watch long. With Lecky back, the Avs felt comfortable running Mikko and Nuke together with Kale instead of a 2D setup. The second line would have been Compher and Lecky.
Yeah.
Didn't have to get there, though, because the Avs done did good. Again, Mikko, the guy in front of the net. I don't have a ton to break down here. Anything you guys want to add?
Play runs through Cale Makar.
True.
I mean, it's again, this is the IQ level of Cale Makar. He could have walked in and tried to take a top shot, gone top shelf to the right of Binnington, but he doesn't. He sees what's going on in front of him, sees that he's got a player in Mikko Rantanen on the other side of the net there, and just makes a really nice shot pass off the pads, gets a weird bounce, hits Mikko in the skate.
It might have hit the defenseman.
I thought Binnington made the stop, and then I thought Mikko just kicked it to himself.
Yeah, he made the stop, but I don't know if he meant to, but it hits his skate.
Did he kick it to himself? It almost looked like Binnington stops it. It goes off the skate. It looks like it might go off Binnington again.
And then just land in front of
Yeah.
Mikko.
Yeah, because it was kind of the puck was flopping, and then he just
So,
slams it in.
I asked Mikko, I'm sorry, a few weeks ago we talked on the show about it looked like there had been a philosophy change to the Abs at 3-on-3 overtime. I meant to ask Jared about it for like a week, and Megan finally got tired of waiting for me to ask and just did it for me because I kept forgetting. So we asked Jared, and he said yes, but no. He was like, no, this is something we've been talking about for years, about to focus on possession, but now we're seeing it execute a little bit better. And so I asked Cale Makar about it a couple nights ago.
Russell Wilson is unconscious.
Oh, man. Yikes. That was scary to look over and see.
Yeah.
He was out. Yeah,
Yep, that's bad.
He was out cold.
He's getting picked literally.
Yeah, do not let that dude stay in the game. And a couple nights ago, they lose against the Rangers in a shootout, but they held the puck for like 90% of overtime. So I asked Cale after the game, what has changed? What are you guys doing different? And he said, look, we just look at overtime now. It's all possession. We want the puck. Even if you're not generating something, you're tiring out their guys. And he was making the allusion to, if we have the puck, we can get changes. We are dictating what's happening, and they have to follow what we're doing. And so that seems like what they're really trying to embrace. And you saw it again tonight. And it just, I've always thought, I've hated the conversation about Nathan MacKinnon's not a smart player in overtime. I think he's a really smart player. I just think he really likes to push the play up ice. And now that I think this team is saying,
Bad take.
we're going to slow it down. No, I'm saying not necessarily in overtime. I'm just saying I think he's a smart player in general.
Generally, yes.
And I
agree.
I think
but
he's gotten carried away trying to capture that open ice in overtime. And now the team is saying, slow it down. We're all really smart, talented, skilled players. Slow it down and exploit that. And I just love the way that Cale, I don't remember exactly the way he said it, but he said something to the effect of like, we are dictating what's happening on the ice if we have the puck.
Yep.
I mean, MacKinnon is a alpha male, right?
You're the worst. I hate you so much. Megan, what were you going to say?
I was going to talk about Bednar's response to overtime, how this is how he's always wanted them to play, because I think the word that I would use for it is cautious, but it's really just about control and forcing the other team to play the way that they'd like to. And so if they're controlling play, controlling possession, they can exit, reset, and enter exactly as they'd like, exit again if they don't get the entry that they want. And it's so cautious that Bednar clarified they are not playing for it to go to a shootout. So that's the important distinction that I think is to be made, too, that it's about control. It is about controlling possession, but it's not just to eat up time. There's still opportunities and chances that they're also looking to create completely on their terms.
Yeah.
So I think what part of it is understanding what the quality of a chance is in a 3-on-3 situation. Because a chance that you look at on 5-on-5 is a good quality situation isn't a very good quality chance at 3-on-3. At 3-on-3, if you're patient, you will get a genuine grade A chance if you hold on to the puck eventually.
You want a 60-40 situation.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Instead of like, oh, well, you had a little bit of room and you took the shot.
Yeah.
So he was talking about young players, but I think it weirdly applies to the Avs as a whole, specifically pertaining to overtime and the little bit of a change we've seen here. Jared Bednar was talking about young kids and getting them to play the right way, and he made mention of sometimes young players confuse hard work with good play. They want to work really hard, skate, get into the corner, and blah, and they want to do all this to show like, hey, look how hard I'm working. But they don't realize they skated themselves out of position and out of the system. And I think that's maybe what this Avs team is learning now with overtime, has adjusted in their game, is to your point, Nathan MacKinnon sees a lane in overtime that, in regulation at 5-on-5, that's a hell of a lane. You have to take that lane and drive the net.
Yep.
But you have that lane because it's 3-on-3, and those lanes are everywhere. Not everywhere,
right.
but you know what I'm saying. Like, and so I think they've kind of taken a step back. And we had this conversation before MacKinnon got hurt. We actually were even marveling at how many times Nathan MacKinnon took it back. And I just think that they are looking at it a little bit closer of like, well, shit. Instead of just taking the obvious lane that is going to present itself 10 times, if we slow it down and force them to stay on the ice and play, not only are those lanes going to open up, but true scoring lanes and scoring opportunities are going to open up going to the net. And I just think it's been, that like what Jared Bednar told you, Megan, like No, this has been what we've been trying to do for a long time, but it's finally clicked with everyone, and they're not just trying to outskill everybody. They're saying, we have the skill, we also have the smarts, hold the puck, and you'll get your chances.
Be dangerous.
Some of that too is probably having Jared Bednar has to deprogram these players from backyard pickup hockey because that's 3-on-3 hockey, and you're just going all the time. If you have a chance, you're going. You're not thinking about possession. So it's really like you've got to learn the system of how to play correct 3-on-3 when your whole life you've been playing 3-on-3
full YOLO.
Sorry, balls out. Balls to the wall hockey where it's just like, I'm going to show this kid up.
Right.
Instead of like a more
structured hockey game.
3-on-3 hockey, which is not taught.
So let's go back
when
to
you're younger.
Let's go back to the clutch thing, right? And about the players who want to be on the ice. Those are typically players that they want to be out there, so they want to make the big play.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, if you're a player like that and you get out there, and to your point, Blaze, you see all of that open ice, and your brain just makes that connection. Oh, I've played pickup before. Like, I've played drop-in.
Yeah, go.
This is going to be sick. Look at all this ice there is. And when you're a good player like Nathan McKinnon, it's really easy for me to understand why he makes these plays. It's like, well, why would you do that? To him, it's like, I've never not made that play with that much open ice in front of me. I would never in my life not shoot that puck. But after now the 10th time of it ripping around the glass, it's clicked to this whole team of like, yes, that's a nice lane you got to the net. Stop though. We'll get you a better one.
As we start wrapping the show up, if it's not obvious, Mikko Rantanen is of course getting our king of the game. The man pulled a hat trick out of nowhere in the last 40 seconds of this hockey game, essentially, to tie it and then ultimately to win it. Again, just wanted to reference 2 of his goals come from him being, yes, I am large and you cannot move me out of the net front area.
Yeah.
Not exactly super high skill, but what was necessary for the Avs tonight. I don't have a ton else to say. I know we got a couple super chats here. $2 from Vaguely Sober. Vaguely Sober. I can say word. Yeah, I'm vaguely sober at this point. A dub for Lil Brizzy.
I love it.
Heart DNVR. And then $2 from Kevin, who says the Moose. Yeah, it's the month of Mikko, as they say, at this point. But Avs take a dub. They're back in the win column. Honestly, it's hard not to feel pretty good about them. You were, razor thin margin from feeling real bad about this hockey game, but it ended up okay.
Look, this next week, after this game, this should be a week of W's for the Avalanche.
Given
That's the expectation now.
Yeah, kind of.
With the competition, yes, absolutely. This should be a week. Maybe Nashville gives you a little bit of trouble at the end of it.
You need
It's
to turn
the revenge tour.
You need to turn this into 2 or 3 games. You need to string a couple together here. And you're right. You have the next couple opponents that you should be able to do it. Nashville, depending on what this lineup looks like.
In a week from now, it could be.
If you're getting Rodriguez and Helm back, I'm with you.
Yeah.
If not, I'm willing to say you want to go 2-1 this week, get you 3 out of 4 wins, and you're back to feeling much, much, much better, knowing that some help is actually on the way. And then you're feeling good.
All right, look, it just adds up. You drink some moose-mosas, the moose comes out, all right?
Mimosa.
Mimosa? Is that what it is these days?
I love it. I love it.
One final question for the chat and for all of you, but you won't have a good answer except for maybe Megan.
Ooh, pressure.
If Mikko Rantanen were to be a sailor in Sailor Moon,
oh my
which
goodness.
one would he be?
Pushing my microphone.
Sailor Moose.
Sailor Moon.
Yeah, it seemed like a really obvious answer.
Fighting evil by mooselight.
Okay, you ready for my answer? Look, I'm still on the Hudon train. I think this guy
I don't know.
is here to stay.
I think Mikko would make a pretty good tuxedo mask.
No. Kale. Kale feels like tuxedo.
Mikko. Yeah, Mikko has way more of the, but you didn't actually do anything energy.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. All right, we're going to end the show. We appreciate all y'all hanging out.
Hoot on.
Jesse and Megan, that show's going up tomorrow, I assume. So they're recording another pod talking about LOC, around the league, a whole bunch of other stuff. Check it out tomorrow here on YouTube. We love you. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.